Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at what's going on with Bitcoin then, shall we? So a lot of people on my Telegram, and I've heard people say that this is worse than 2017, and you know there's components of it that definitely feel worse. I would agree. If we think about the measure move from the top to the bottom wick, there we're basically 55% from the top to the bottom so far. Now this could continue further down. In my opinion, I think what's likely to happen is a further consolidation, but more of an accumulation range. So not looking for any massive dramatic pullbacks at this level into deeper and darker areas of Bitcoin's price. I think we're more looking to find a natural rhythm of a consolidation, and that also includes upside as well. So the range that could likely be played, in my opinion, is still down as low as 28,000 to wherever this 200 exponential may be at the time. So you can see after this relief rally, or this mega bounce, or whatever you want to call it, it bounced all the way from this bottom level here, about 30,000, all the way to the 200 exponential, which is clearly now a resistance, and that's to be expected. That is to be expected. Even the day after that, we came up to 44%. So I mean, you know, this technically is already a range being hashed out at the moment. It's too early to say that this is the accumulation range, but it would not surprise me if this ends up being the accumulation range if it were to only be for the next week or two. So anywhere as low as 28,000 to as much as what would be about 42,000. Now if we spend too long down here, or too long accumulating below the 200 exponential, it will incur a death cross. So that's not likely to happen for about 2 weeks at this current rate. I mean, it's a quite steep trajectory. We do need to break above 42,000 or wherever the 200 exponential is at the time, whatever the price would be at the time. We do need to break above that to avoid that. And if we did get that death cross, that is, you know, it's not the that doesn't mean bear market. It just means, well, it just means the trend is more bearish than it has been prior to that. Normally when we look at indicators, it's a matter of balancing the odds, and the odds would be further against more significant upside if we get that death cross. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to plummet down, but it does add more pressure to downwards movement, as that strength of trend would continue most likely to the down until we break above all those moving averages. And again, all the moving averages of any significance, they're all above us still, which means each one of these is a level of resistance, and clearly you can see by the 200 exponential that is a resistance. So if we go back in time to just think about what a bubble pop actually looks like, and I suppose historically this is how Bitcoin ends its life and goes into a bear market. They do pop quite dramatically. So in the space of let's just measure this, it was less than a week, it was about 3 or 4 days from what I remember, because I was around at the time. 7 days, 44%, then a massive nice big bounce up, looking like it was all going to recover, and then within a 34-day period, 45% relief rally, and break down to 69, 70%, and obviously further and further over time. So if we think about what that looks like there, and again, we're not really thinking about what, you know, physically how it looks, but they do look different, but the market is different now. So far, over the space of 35 days, we have done kind of a similar move, as in you know, from top to bottom. So that is something to, I suppose, bear in mind. You know, as far as time frame and percentage are concerned, they have kind of met that sort of prior top kind of vibe going on. Now this was the beginning of the bull market, and we also had a bubble pop here as well. If we measure this one out, that was a 36%. If we measure it out to here, that was a 40%, down to this level, 44% over a 92-day period. This was a deeper and longer consolidation, not a bubble pop. This is a bubble pop. This is a bubble pop that led into a miniature bear market within a bull market. This one is a nasty, nasty, nasty crash, really. Similar to that of the March crash, if you think about it like this. So, you know, it's easy for us to go historically and look at these fractals and go, oh, this happened here and that meant this or that. Well, actually, you know, every stage of the market has been very different. The probably the best way to think about it is the most recent crash, which was this COVID crash. And the reason I say that this is the most relevant in comparison to what's going on right now, is that yeah, we did recover, we were moving up, we were looking good, we were looking okay, and then we started to break down as COVID kicked in, and then the fundamentals of Bitcoin were all thrown out the window when came the panic sell. And that was not just with Bitcoin, that was across the board. Everything was sold off, and that broke down 64% in a period of 31 days, in less than a month, and most of that being in a very short window of time, within a week, within a 7-day period. And then what happened? Well, we had a massive mega wick all the way down here, and we effectively bounced our way back to glory with the help of the Federal Reserve printing dollars and the absolute stretched out RSI that was pretty oversold at the time, and that in a way is kind of the kind of vibe that I'm feeling right now. Now, I'm not claiming that this is the bottom. We do have an oversold RSI for what it's worth, got an oversold money flow index. We've got a ridiculously oversold MACD as well. So it would be rude for Bitcoin not to bounce at this level. But is this bounce going to carry us, anywhere significant? In my opinion, I don't think so. I think the bounce that we're getting today was kind of expected because of the bullish divergence we had on the 4-hourly, and that is playing out. And to be honest, if we break above this center of this Bollinger Band, I would expect it to play out even further, maybe up to 42,000. Which again is where the resistance is on the 200 exponential over here. So my expectation overall of Bitcoin is that we're going to be playing this range. We will be rejected here. We will probably reaccumulate around these zones in a consolidatory fashion, if that's the case, and then effectively once we've had enough and it's accumulated enough, we will probably move on. Now this might run deeper in my example here than the actual price, and I do not expect this to work out exactly like that. That was just very crudely drawn, but this is kind of what I would expect to see, and this would be a good formation for it to take on, because we all expect Bitcoin to carry on with a bull market. I expect it to carry on with a bull market. There's too much going on for it to carry on with, for it to just drop dead and actually consolidate in a bear market. Now that is possible, and no one can say that it's not possible. Of course it's possible, because really nobody actually really knows. But based upon the way that cryptocurrency and especially Bitcoin works, the longer you've been in it, the longer you kind of understand its moves and recognize its formations and understand its behavior, it would not surprise me at all if this is the most likely scenario. Now, this would be one of 3 scenarios, and you don't need to be a massive cryptocurrency buff to expect one of these 3 scenarios. This is my favorite: an accumulation with a deeper, potentially deeper low of around about 29,000 form, basically an extremely large range. There's also another thing that could happen, which is that V-shaped recovery, basically V-shaped recovery, which would lead up into a bubble pop, probably a stereotypical one, which I don't favour that outcome the most, but it is possible. Or what we have is a bear market, and a bear market would lead, in my opinion, down to roughly, give or take, that's annoying, roughly give or take about 16,000. And the reason I say that is that there was a fair amount of time around 16,000. I wouldn't expect us to go a great deal further than that, but around about 16,000 is kind of where we did try to break the all-time high, crashed all the way back down to 16,000. We also had a bit of time around here where we tried to get above it. So about 16,000, give or take, if we do go into a bear market, which lasts for 6 to 9 to 12 months or so. 16,000 is likely to be roughly around the floor. Maybe we take a one last leg down to about 12,000, and that would be the absolute floor. That would be the bear market situation, but it's not going to be a bear market yet. There's nothing to suggest a bear market at the moment. Bear market would mean we need to have curvature on this chart, on the 20 exponential, sorry, the 21 exponential, and on the 20 moving average. The 21 actually does already have a curvature on it, and then these would then become resistances. We would be rejected from them and pushed down further. They would then go lower, we come up, rejected further and further and further down, until basically we find the floor, we reaccumulate at that level, and then start a brand new bull market, which could change the overall picture of the cycle, or it could be very much in keeping with the 4-year cycle. It's just that this last bull run here was cut short early because of the overextension of all the altcoin charts and Bitcoin as well. Too much money, too fast, just like in 2019. There's a number of different ways we could choose to view this. My personal favourite would be the reaccumulation at these zones now. Not a bear market, not a V-shaped recovery. A boring, roughly quite boring, large range of Bitcoin just reaccumulating. And my expectation is that, and the way that I would choose to play that, is to build upon my Bitcoin position, because other than Bitcoin, there are a lot of other altcoins out there that we could trade if we wanted to, but they're not looking particularly strong at the moment. And this Bitcoin dominance chart only emphasizes the fact that we are looking down the barrel of a gun for a reversal on the Bitcoin dominance chart, and Bitcoin doesn't need to rally. It can dump, and all that means is that altcoins dump harder with it. It could reaccumulate, and it could mean that altcoins consolidate. At the moment, it's too early to give any particular favourite idea as to what exactly is going to happen. But I do favour Bitcoin over altcoins right now, only because I've been expecting it for a long time. Since we hedged into altcoins all the way over here, we were having a great time. But every time we came to one of these resistances, I was saying, look, at each one of these supports, I kind of said, look, we're going to get more and more vulnerable the deeper we go, and it's only a matter of time before we bounce. And this is obviously the bounce that we've been expecting. However, the bounce has been in the form of a market dump, but hedging into Bitcoin, I suppose, in many ways has been more appropriate than just staying with a lot of altcoins. Now, altcoins aren't all done and dusted. They can consolidate, some of them can pop off. They all have their own little lives. They're not all created equal. They all do their own little thing. But if the market follows Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance, that would be, the market may not trend with Bitcoin, which is something that we have seen in the past, and something we also didn't see the last time Bitcoin dominance increased massively. The market didn't trend with it. Bitcoin went up on its own, and altcoins actually went down versus their US dollar version. So, it's at the moment it is too early to say what's going on. But I'm looking to basically build up my Bitcoin amount, get myself a solid position in Bitcoin. That way, whatever the situation, hopefully Bitcoin takes off, altcoins stay stagnant or even go down in value. I'm not wishing this, I'm just saying this is all part of what I expect to happen. And then when we find an appropriate area, we flip again, just like we did in January, doing our 10x's. I could turn 1 Bitcoin into 10 Bitcoins. I'll hopefully be able to do that again towards the end of this year, and that's how I'm feeling it. Does appear more obvious to me that there's going to be a period of accumulation, then an uptrend form for Bitcoin. Maybe altcoins will be left behind for a while to cool off, and then towards the end of this year, in the fourth quarter, we can flip and rotate that Bitcoin into some altcoins again and do those 10x's, turn that 1 Bitcoin into 5 Bitcoins, turn those 5 Bitcoins into 10 Bitcoins, and so on and so on and so on. It's all part of the game, and none of this is scaring me. And if we do continue to go down and we enter into a bear market, do you know what I'll be doing? I'll be accumulating more Bitcoin for the inevitable party to start all over again, which is what it has been. We've been trading this market on a daily basis for a variety of means for the best part of 3 years now, more than that probably, and I will continue to trade it, whether it's up, down or sideways. It can be traded in every direction. Only going to the left is the only direction it can't be traded in. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there, but if you want to join my Patreon, there's a link in the description below. We do 2 live streams a week. We look at all kinds of altcoins and just make a general discussion about what's been going on. Otherwise, there's Telegram chat, and you can join that for free. Anyway, take it easy everybody, have a nice day and a good weekend.